All right, let's hop into module 13. Here we go. We're gonna begin the process of making our film in this class. As you know, from the beginning of class, I've talked about pre-pro production and post-production. We've been working on that both at the DMC and then here online. And the assignments I've given over the last couple of modules is kind of telling me what we're going to be capable of doing technology-wise and with actors. So that's a big problem, is being able to get something for us to film. So I think I have a solution for that, and it'll work for what we need to do to bring these three phases together. Pretty confident about that. So for content, I'm going to have you continue to work a little bit on your action outline and your story, but it's going to be difficult to film those stories now that I've read the action outline. So for content, what I'm going to do is go back to that roommate exercise that we had in our hands and we were just starting to work on. I think a few people got it filmed. And then we had to break and move to online. But we're going to use that for content. And we still now have to work in pre-pro, and then we have to film it, and then we have to edit it, okay? So this is what we're going to work on for the next couple of weeks. For this week, I want to concentrate on pre-production. So what I've come up with is we're going to make some canned puppets, and those are going to be who we film and who we shoot. All right, and I've got almost everything that we need for you to download. You'll see that on these pages, except for what we kind of wrap around, and you need a couple of cans. Any kind of can will work because you're going to take the label off it and then put some drawings on top of it. So you're going to need to build a little set. You're going to need to build your canned puppets. And then once you kind of see what you have and you move them around in that space, then you're going to go to a piece of paper and sketch it out. I have an example for you. And then you're going to create a storyboard for how you want to shoot this scene. All right. And then for this week, what you're going to do is you're going to send me your storyboard, your completed storyboard, and you probably got 20 to 30 different shots that you're going to do there. You're going to email me your sketch, and then you're going to take a still of your set and your puppets. So those are all things that you're going to send me this week. You don't have to film it this week, but you're going to want to do the pre-pro and take a look at what's going to work for you and what doesn't, okay? So here's the story. It's something that you probably recall from early in the semester. Chris is going to be sitting on your couch, just wasting time. He sees his friend come home. They notice each other for the first time, and it's uncomfortable. Bob and Chris are roommates. Last night, Chris came home at about 3 a.m. with a pack of friends. They tore up the house, woke up Bob, who had a big test this morning. So Bob is cranky about being awoken, if that's a word, late at night on a night that he had a test, all right? So they had words last night, and now this is the morning after Bob is coming back from campus, and what we're trying to capture now is the interaction between the two of them. And we can do that with puppets. We just need to do a little bit of work and be kind of creative here. So one note here. We're not filming the night before. We don't care about that party and the interaction. We just care about, as a director now, how do I make this scene come to life? And I do that by the reactions of, in this case, my cam puppets, and the shots I choose to tell this story. All right, so that's what we're looking for here. So Chris does something, looks down at his feet. Bob sees this. He makes his way over. With the cam puppets, you can kind of pull them in, or you can do a series of still shots, kind of an animated thing where you move them in. He can sit down next to him, or he can stand in front of him. Chris is sorry for the events. Bob is pissed at him, and something needs to take place here to break the ice so that Bob kind of sees it all in total, loosens up a little bit, and they get past this point. Now, there's no dialogue here. It's the same thing when we shoot it with cameras in the DMC. There is no dialogue. You have to make this happen through the characters and your shots only. Make sense? So what's the process here? First, you probably want to build your set and your cam puppets to see what you're going to work with here. And then what you want to do is sketch that out on a piece of paper. And you want to start looking at where you're going to put your camera. And you want to put that on the sketch, okay? That you're going to use for reference once you start filming. And this is a normal pre-pro thing to do, okay? We've talked about that before. You know what that is. And this is what I want you to start with. Once that's done, even before you start filming now, I want you to go to the storyboard template that I have for you and start laying in your shots, all right? And I want you to do this in the way that somebody will watch the film at the end of it. And I want you to cover all your shots, all right? So build your set, build your cam puppets, make your sketch, do your storyboard, and that's all you need to do this week. You're going to send me stills of that. Next week, you're going to begin filming this. And it's either going to be stills or film. We'll cover that next week, and such that you can import them into Premiere. So if you want to do good pre-pro and you want to do some tests on that this week, that's a good idea, but I don't need to see it yet. All right? So one of the things that you probably have to do here is I've got a template there with certain facial reactions, the cartoon. You can do your own. You can change them. And you're probably going to have to, because you're going to have different emotions from the beginning of this thing to the end with both Bob and Chris. All right. So you probably have to figure out how to change both the eyes and the mouth from being kind of grumpy and cranky when Chris is sitting there. Bob comes in. Bob's really cranky. Chris is kind of upset with himself. You want to kind of reflect that. So you can draw that. You can manipulate it. You can find a different template online if you want to. I've just put one that I found there that kind of worked for me today. Okay? So what's the point of the exercise? It's to pull all three phases together. The pre-pro, then the shooting, and then the editing. And even though we're using silly cam puppets, the process is the same, and bringing it all together is something that I really want you to walk away from this class with. And I think doing it this way will be able to achieve that. So how do you know if you've done a good job or not? You need to be creative. You can do as much or at the minimum on your set and your cam puppets. You do have to be able to manipulate them so that we use the common shots that we do. I'll go over that in a second. And you change those expressions. So you get graded as a director on your creativity, your shot selection, and then your ability to convey that kind of meaning where you want in each shot for good storytelling principles. All right, kind of makes sense? I think so. So I'll post one of those up just so you can refer to it. Once you have your set here, and you can see this is just a template. It's an example. It's not the set of the Cam Puppets roommates, but this is one from Z Joined. The actress is at the desk. There's a table here, and then the secondary character comes in here. And I have my shots here. So I have a slider for A. I'm going to then go to high sticks. So as the character comes in from the door here, and then I'm going to punch in and move the camera and the sticks to an OTS here and an OTS there of both primary characters. Okay, so this is what I want you to do with your puppets. And even though these guys didn't move and you are going to have a movement in yours, you can just note that. So you could start Shriver here if that's what it was, and if Shriver came around and sat here, I would have Shriver here and there. I would draw an arc with a note off it that said Shriver moves to chair. Okay? This is just so you start to see what you got to work with. All right? It's important, and I want you to do one for this thing. I've got a blank template here for you to put your storyboard in. You don't worry about being an artist. All you have to do is something like this. Now, the better you do it, that's great, but I've got to start this thing. Now, you do it your way, but what I started with was a close-up of Chris. He's probably looking down at his feet. Maybe he's doing, he's flipping through a magazine. All you have to do is give me an idea of how you're going to frame that shot, all right? Then I've got a wide shot of Chris and Bob here. It's a 2-shot wide, Chris, Bob. And then I'm probably going to punch in and go to a close-up of Bob, cranky, very unhappy. Now, I'm still leaving some nose room here because he's going to be looking in this direction. And that's one of the things that you note in your storyboard. Bob moves here, moves to the couch. We can show that. An OTS of Bob, OTS of Chris from over Bob's shoulder. They're looking at each other, and then punch into the close-up of Chris from there. So you want to do something like this, and again, you probably have 20 or 30 shots. I don't care about your artistic ability, but I do care that you're starting to see approximately what your composition in the frame is going to be. All right? So you'll need something for a background, a set and a couch. You need a couple of cans. Go ahead and print out the cartoon faces that I have as a template for you, or find your own. Doesn't matter to me which ones you do. You do need some scissors because you're going to have to cut them out, and then you're going to paste them on your can. You need to work out your shots in advance, and then next week you'll start filming, or if you want to do some test filming this week, you can. You're going to import the shots out of your camera, phone, or a regular camera. You're going to import them into Premiere, and then you're going to start to edit. So this is kind of what it looks like. This over there. These are just things that I had in my cabinet today. So I've got 3 boxes here, but I don't want to see that stuff. So I've got some grocery bags. I've got 3 cans. Now what I did was, if I have Bob come and sit down on this little couch, then I'm going to go to a smaller can here. And I'm using a smaller one for Chris. Here's the template that I've provided for you. Blank piece of paper because you want to cut them out. You want to paste them on here. So scissors, paste, tape, garbage bags. And guys, this is really simple. It took about 10 minutes to do this, and I have no crafts skills at all. But I've put a little home sweet home. You can do whatever you want there. Here's my version of a couch. And now all I've done is I've cut my grocery bag up and just wrapped these like Christmas presents, okay? I had a little door here, and boom, I've got a set. This is all I need to make this thing work, okay? Here's your template. You go in and just cut things out. Paste them the way that you want here on a piece of paper, and then you're going to cut out this piece of paper, and you're going to, I glued it onto the blank piece of paper, got the adjustment the way that I wanted to, and then I taped this to a can. So Bob, there's a Chris. Again, this doesn't take much time at all. But you get the idea what we're looking for here. Now, if the lips need to change here, you can use these pieces and then draw your own mouth in. I think there's enough eyes in there that you can do disappointment, happiness, unhappiness. But if you can draw and you have a talent there, you can draw your own faces. I'm good with that. If you, as I mentioned, find another template that you want to use, great. All I'm looking for here is if you were a director, you would look for certain facial reactions on the actor's face, and you would talk to them to get that kind of reaction. Here you get to control it and the blocking by the way that these are drawn and when you choose to use which one. And of course, the advantage here is, unlike in real life, your actors won't talk back to you. So it's an awesome way to start here. So then what I did, just start to block your shots. So I've got the smaller can, I've got Chris on the couch here, and then Bob here. So on my storyboard, this is probably would be my second shot. Okay, so this is 2-shot wide, and this is kind of how it's gonna look. So I'm now starting to block, and I'm just giving you some ideas. This part you probably won't move into until next week. You can do this all in your head just with your storyboard, but if you want to see how it looks, once they're built, you start moving things around. So here's an OTS shot of Chris. You turn the can a little bit and you can still get Bob in there. There's a reverse angle on that. Probably want to be a little more careful and bring your set out to there. And then here's just kind of a 2-shot. Now, this is a smaller can, larger here. I'm not so worried about proportion, but I am worried about where you choose to put them and why. Now, if you decide to move Bob and up to the couch and have him sit there, then I would get a second smaller can and place both of them up there. Easy to do. You can tell from these shots that I can move the camera anywhere. This is the nice thing about it. And since this set is just boxes, I can come back here to this shot and just pull that box out, and I could actually be shooting from the other side if I wanted to. Okay? So that's what I want you to work on this week. Don't worry about your story and your action outline. I just want you to build your set, build your puppets, create your sketch, and do your storyboard by next Sunday. All right, that's what I'm looking for here. The Can Puppets roommate film. What do I need? I need one still of each of your puppets. I need a still of your set. I need your sketch, where you're going to have your cameras and where your actors are going to move. And then I need your storyboard. So these are examples, stills. This you're going to draw by hand. Storyboard you're going to draw by hand too. And you're going to send me these two completed by the end of the week. This is Module 13. Next week, Module 14, we'll start talking about filming this. But this is enough information, I believe, to get us started. All right, good luck. Have a great week. And as always, if you have any issues, send me an email.